Good evening from Vietnam. Good morning to you, Miss Gizem. Thanks a lot for spending your morning to join our program to share your amazing journey to our audience. And on behalf of listeners everywhere, we want to say thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
And now you have a new family, new friend in Vietnam. If your family decided to travel to Asia, to Vietnam, you let us know. We love to see you in person.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Yeah, and for a little taste of our culture, Mr. Gizem, uh, it's very honor if we can have you share a little bit to our audience of who you are and the work you do. Please do that honor first.
Absolutely. So my name is Gizem White. I am known as the Turkish Coffee Lady. I've been traveling the world with a non-profit Turkish coffee truck to spread love for Turkish coffee and also promote cultural dialogues. I've been a very passionate Turkish American entrepreneur because I would like to bridge cultures through coffee conversations, through cuisine, music, and arts. So I came to the US 20 years ago as a student, and I realized Americans love their morning coffee. And Turks, we have this incredible 500-year-old coffee culture. So I thought that would be a wonderful connector between two societies. So I started hosting coffee events and cultural workshops, and it was very popular, both at the university and also when I moved to Washington, D.C. I started having events at the embassy, Turkish embassy, Turkish consulate in New York. And I realized people were so curious about this centuries old beverage, this cultural drink, this cultural ritual. So I created a Turkish coffee truck. This was back in 2012. And I quit my job at the embassy. I found some sponsors and, some supporters. I started traveling around the US. I first launched the truck in Washington, D.C., in the capital. Then we traveled to New York City, then to Yale University, New Haven, and Boston, Harvard University. We maybe distributed like 30,000 cups of coffee. And it was really popular. It went viral. I started getting invitations from all around the world. And thank you. I started working for Turkish Airlines, and I made another track for the airline as well for Valentine's Day. I just realized people really needed to connect and socialize around coffee. And when they invited me to Europe, I said, why not? So I flew there. I had another vehicle wrapped with, Turkey images like Istanbul, like all the landmarks from Anatolia. And we started from Netherlands. We went to universities, we went to downtown festivals, and then to Belgium and France. Again, people just love the idea of volunteers just, sampling a cup of friendship. So it was all over the media as well. We got a lot of media coverage. Then when I got back, the Washington Post newspaper, they named me the Turkish Coffee Lady. And it's an honor, to have this wonderful nickname. And also the US Congress honored our volunteer-led project as well. It was a cultural diplomacy initiative. We received a lot of recognitions from, mayors and representatives and members of Congress. And then I traveled to Canada. This was back in 2016.
Uh-huh.
And what happened there when I was traveling around Toronto, people just really enjoyed the culture, the heritage, the sharing, the conversation and connection. And I realized this was my passion and I wanted to do this for the rest of my life.
Uh-huh.
And I was expecting my baby girl at that time. And that's where I decided to start a business. I said, you know what? I have a cultural mission and I need to spread more kindness around the world. And the rest is history. It's been going really well. I own the only Turkish coffee chain in the US with a mission of bridging cultures and empowering women at the same time. I also have a foundation established in Washington, D.C., a nonprofit. We also educate women. We do fundraisers for our neighbors in need, or for youth programs as well. So I try to give back as much as possible, and
Wow.
I'm really, like really honored to just being a cultural ambassador for my beautiful country, Turkey, and share this culture, with my friends like yourself. So it's an honor.
Thank you so much. The honor is
You're
all
welcome.
ours. So I'm trying to note the time in here. And you said you came to the US since when?
So I moved to the US back in 2005.
2005.
Yeah.
Wow. All
Yeah,
righty. This
2005.
conversation is designed for our audience to know deeper about that journey of the Turkish coffee lady, okay, and how the coffee culture of half a 500 years, right, 5 centuries,
Yes. Yes.
plus with conversation with cousin, with like connections that leading to a beautiful journey today. And let's travel time with me, Mr. Gazem. Okay,
Yes,
how does
sure.
that sound to you? How the time travel?
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. When I was little, I grew up in a very small city, and
Mhm.
the city is devastated by the war that happened in Vietnam. And I grew up in a family where my parents were engineers, and back then, engineers are seen as a low in the social standard. So blue collar are actually are higher, like in the social standard. So it means
Mhm.
that you study and then you go to work, but then the worker and the factory lives are more, like seniority than the engineers who spent years at university. So it's a reverse
Interesting.
way, right? Yeah.
Mm.
And my home will, my family is poor. So one night we had electricity. The next night or so, we did not have electricity at all. And my first dream about the works that I wanted to become and what I wanted to do, guys, is to become an astronaut so I can fly to the moon. I can enjoy the beautiful and bright,
Incredible.
scene of the, and life took me to a very different direction. Take me,
Mhm.
so for you, when you grew up, what was your first dream about the future that Isaac is gonna do or show to this world?
First of all, I'm so touched by your personal story. Thank you so much for sharing it with me. I mean, it's so beautiful to dream, I think, to have hope about our future. And I was very lucky in that sense because I had a really good role model. My grandfather, he was an international architect, and he was the former mayor of Ankara, the capital city of Turkey, Turkey. So I was really impressed by his courage and his intentions to really enhance, cultural ties with other countries. So I think that was my inspiration. I'm always so brave. I'm like fierce. I don't fear of anything, I think that comes from my grandfather because everybody's saying like, why would you go on a tour with a truck? Like you have other things to do, find a job or, do better things with your time. I'm like, no, I'm going to create something from scratch, from zero, and I'm going to give that to the world because I think
Wow.
that's my mission in life. And I have a daughter, she's 9 years old, and I want to be a role model, a good role model for her as well. I do volunteer a lot for my community. I was the president of Turkish American Associations in Washington, D.C. It's just so important to communicate with your local community and see how we can support one another. The world is changing so fast. Our youth is trying to adapt with all these changes. So we need to make sure like they get the they get the information, the experience, the know-how from us,
Uh,
so they can have a purpose in life. So I just feel like I have a duty, for
uh,
my community, for my country, for myself, and for my family. So that's that's
uh,
my dream. That's my dream to, open Turkish Coffee Lady cultural houses all around the world. So that's why I do a lot of like women empowerment programs as well.
so that dream evolved when you came to America, or but what happened when you were earlier, when you were in Turkey, right? What was what were you thinking about that, guys, who fearless about the world, who wanna carry the legacy of her grandfather, and they're gonna bring the culture. You back then, if in a little girl's mind, right? She could become like an actress, an author, it could become anything that can bring that culture to the world, right? And so
Right, right.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
so what happens is, I was able to come here for a work and travel program. This was back in 2003. And I was in Hollywood, in Los Angeles. And during a couple of, months, I realized people didn't know about my country, didn't know about Turkish people, didn't
uh,
know about the history, and especially Turkish coffee. And people had some, like biased or some, not correct perception of Turkish society. So I wanted to change that a little bit. I wanted to give them the modern face of, Turkey, because, we're a secular country. And well, of course, we have an incredible education system, and we have an emerging, power as a country as well, as a big player in the world. And historic wise, Turkish coffee is so significant because it is the world's first coffee brewing technique. So what happened is Turks, for the very first time in history, roasted and started grinding the coffee beans, and they invented a pot called jezve. And with that jezve, they started, brewing the coffee grounds. And that form of methods, like brewing method, is still in use today. And Turks also introduced this coffee culture to Europe, through ambassadors, through merchants, through tradesmen. And believe me, the very first coffee house in history was opened in Istanbul in 1554. So there's
1554.
just, yes, 1554. And the first one opened, like in Paris, was a century later. So we carried out that tradition, that culture, introduced that to the Europeans, and they started innovating their own, coffee brewing techniques. But believe me, everything started from Istanbul, the whole coffee culture. The Turkish coffee is the genesis of nearly all coffee types around the world today. So I'm just so proud of that. And I want to, introduce that culture to different societies, share it with my, American friends here. So that's why I want to like change the perceptions, in a positive light.
Wow. Today in Vietnam is a Teachers' Day, so in our culture, we very respect teachers and give thanks to them for the work they do. You just teach me about the culture of coffee, the origin of coffee. So you are my teacher today, and happy
Oh,
Teachers' Day to you also. Okay.
happy Teacher's Day. I always wanted to be a teacher when I was a kid.
You also wanted to become a teacher when you were a kid, right?
Yes.
You see, the teacher normally in the past is like teaching a classroom or a school and within a district or like within a country, right? You are a
Right.
different kind of teacher. You teach about culture, about coffee, about
Thank you.
relationships, how people together bring that togetherness through coffee, and you bring your culture around the world. There's not a lot of teacher like that, guys. Okay, so you must be
Oh, you're
very
gonna
proud
make
of
me
you.
cry. You made my day. I
and
appreciate you.
And I want to bring the people to look deeper, like the moment that you came to the US in 2003, sitting in the city of very beautiful, very busy Hollywood, right? And very fancy with a lot of, shining things, right? And in that high moving speed city, society, you realize that people did not know something that deep rooted to your country. And of course
Mhm.
there's a lot of things that people did not know about, different country, different people, because of the speed of life is always good,
Of course.
fast, right? So bring me to that moment, because that I think is a moment that changing, and creating the world, our Turkey coffee lady. Okay. All
No,
right. So
absolutely, you're right.
what happened back then that make you ignite that passion of, hey, the world, America, you need to know about where coffee is all about, where it's all from.
That's a very good question. You know what happened? It was an eye opener for me. So
Hmm.
I was selling photographs at this, visitor center, and an American gentleman, he came and asked something about his photograph, and I answered, and he said I had a very strong accent and where I was from, and I was so excited. I said, like, I'm from Turkey. And he was confused and he just couldn't figure out where Turkey was. And he said, like, where is this in the United States?
Yeah.
He thought my country was in the United States. So I was like, let me tell you the story. And of course, he didn't have time. He didn't pay attention. He left.
Hmm.
That's where I decided to be a storyteller. You know,
Wow.
not just like, of course, it's a process to educate people about our own cultures, our own traditions, our um, like identities. But if you do it through coffee, which is universal, people listen. They're more curious about you, and you have that connection of like, what? Maybe we can be friends. Maybe we can, spend time together, get to know each other. It's just a very strong communication tool.
Yeah.
And people are also very curious about Turkish coffee because it's very exotic, and people know about Turkish delights as well. So, they just want to like try the experience. So that's kind of like a hook. You just get people's attention.
Yeah.
So that was my starting point,
That could
basically.
be different things from Turkey that you can hook people up with, right? So why
Yeah.
did you decided to hook them up with coffee and the culture and start from there?
So in this country, in the United States,
Uh-huh.
every single day, 400 million cups of coffee are being consumed.
No
Every single
way.
day.
No kidding.
No
Half a
kidding.
billion cups.
400 million. Yes,
Yeah,
half a billion. It's a huge number.
it
People
is.
love coffee here, it comes after water. It's
Uh-huh.
their most favorite beverage. And I have a very strong coffee culture I grew up with.
Uh-huh.
And I know my coffee is also very healthy,
Uh-huh.
but also, it symbolizes peace, hospitality, and friendship. So it's not just to go kind of coffee, or it's not a caffeine rush.
Uh-huh.
It's a cup of hospitality. It's a
Yeah.
cup of friendship, cup of culture. So I realized people really did, enjoy having their cup of coffees, but also they were looking for different experiences as well. Not just a paper cup of coffee, but something deeper, with a story, or, with a special experience, or presentation. That's how I did my coffee truck. So I brought some really traditional, like authentic Turkish coffee cups, right?
Uh-huh.
And you can also read coffee fortunes. It's a ritual. When you
Uh-huh.
drink your cup of coffee, you make a wish and set an intention, and you twirl the cup 3 times. And when you open it up, you can interpret the shapes and patterns inside and see your future. So it's a very
Ah.
fun ritual. So we were explaining that to people, let's see your future in the cup. Um, it was just an incredible experience for me as well because, like you said earlier, everything is so fast paced. Like people are just hurrying, hurrying, hurrying. For what? Like we need to stop and sometimes just have this breathing room for ourselves, right? Just to make sure like our mental health, our spiritual health, our physical health is okay, so we
Uh-huh.
can be stronger, for ourselves, for our families, for our communities. And this is the moment you enjoy the coffee, you savor the moment, you relax, and your body feels, the strong coffee grounds because they're like antioxidants, they're immune boosters. You feel like, what? I can take on the challenges down the road. Like I feel so, energized, fired up. And obviously, thinking positive.
Yep.
Turkish coffee helps with depression. It helps with Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer, even cancer. Like
Hmm.
it has a lot of health benefits as well. So it's not just a beverage, it's a lifestyle.
Wow. Bring me to the idea of a truck. Okay. And you want to bring the idea of good coffee, of a healthy lifestyle from coffee into the people to slow down, to enjoy the conversation and the benefit of having the good quality of coffee in their lives, right?
Mhm.
Instead of
Mhm.
people moving and let life carry them, like
Right.
and you could open a shop so you can impact permanently to a group of the people in that neighborhood. And then you're in the truck, then you move to the one city, you want to move to the next city, you move to the next city, you can reach more people. And but the impact of the people maybe in the busy of life that we forget about it also. So why did you decide to have it on the move instead of have it at one place and then spread it out?
What a great question. So this is back in 2011. I was working at the Turkish embassy, and I started, hosting events. Went well. Everybody was so happy. They were enjoying the coffee and all that. But I then realized there was a trend growing in the US, which were the food trucks.
Oh,
So I kept seeing food trucks all over the streets. They were representing different cuisines, right? Like Asian cuisine, Indian cuisine, Italian cuisine, and so forth. There was nothing related to Turkish cuisine. And
wow.
Turkish cuisine is one of the richest cuisines in the world, but I didn't see any. Like, not in my area, not in another state. So it was the trend at that
Uh,
time, having food trucks.
uh-huh.
And I was working at the embassy as an employee, so I wasn't thinking about building a business. I was just creating a cultural diplomacy initiative. So through sponsors, through donors, I was able to fundraise around like $67,000. So I could rent a truck, I could wrap it, I could apply for permits, like parking permit, food, drink distribution permit. I could, of course, arrange hotels when we visit other cities and all that. So it was a smaller budget, but I could have more sightseeings. Like I could engage more people,
Uh,
not just one location, but like 5 different states, 7 different cities. So that's why the truck was my initial starting point. But then what happened is with the truck, it was great, to like just having wheels, it's going around. But then people were like, okay, where are you next? Like, how can I find you? I need an
oh.
address. So I realized, okay, I need a physical location. But that happened almost like 6 years later, 6, 7 years later.
So when you realize that, that's when you in Toronto, right? And then you're starting
Yeah.
to realize that maybe it's the time for you to have a location, right?
Yes, and a business to make it sustainable because I was doing it all volunteer. You know,
Uh-huh.
it was just my like I was taking some time off from work instead of going on vacation. I was
Uh-huh.
traveling the world with my truck.
Right. Bring me to a moment that you got a, because I think from 0 to 1 is the hardest thing. Okay.
Yes.
From zero customer to the first customer, now to the first customer that asks you where is your next location that they can look for, which means that now you start to having a loyal customer. Your stories start to resonate with them. They start to see the
Right.
benefits and stuff. And I think that is super, right? Okay. What? How did you feel when you saw those kind of messages?
I feel like, people are just trying to feel better about life, about themselves. So they look for opportunities, like a good cup of coffee, good conversation, a good friend circle and all that. Because, we only have one life and we want to
Mhm.
enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
So when they come to our shop, they say, I feel very special here. It has amazing vibes, it has good vibes. It feels like, I don't think about the chaos outside, but I'm just like enjoying a good cup of coffee, good food, desserts, and just good ambience. I feel like people are really trying to look for those kind of opportunities more these days to keep their sanity. Life is really hard already. And we
Yeah.
are very friendly people. Turkish people are known for their hospitality.
Hmm.
So we always smile. We try our best to make sure, customers are happy. We give them good customer service. We ask them, how they're feeling about their day. It's not just a transaction between us, like we care about them.
Hmm.
And I think they feel that very well. So we get great reviews from our customers. And we also get great, interest from women who are trying to build their own businesses as well.
Uh-huh.
We have this online education program called She Brews Business.
Hmm.
And within that program, we basically teach them about entrepreneurship, but
Uh,
also how to start a business, where to start, when to start, the resources, or, people they can talk to, like mentors or, people who are successful in their fields that can guide them in the positive direction. And these group of women, they also interact with each other and they learn from each other,
Beautiful.
so we create a network of women, uh, who will be empowering each other. So it's
Uh-huh.
all about all about like transferring that know-how so they wouldn't have the same difficulties as I did, because it was hard and it's still hard.
Yeah,
Every day is a challenge,
it is.
there are so many things we cannot control.
When you first started your idea on that very day one, you already got a lot of challenges right there. Because earlier to this
Mhm.
conversation, you were mentioning about the people next to you was challenging you. Why coffee? Why truck? Why not doing it? Another, like
Yes.
permanent job, but moving around like that, right? And when we first started this podcast, we asked people in our network of how they think about, having this idea. And this happened during the pandemic. And I tell you, 99% of the people we asked say, no, this is a stupid idea. And and I think it's similar to a lot of people who wants to do something, and normally they got a lot of like pushback or think again, right? So
Unfortunately.
what did you do, or what how did you tell yourself when seems like all of the information that you received back then was on the reverse direction of the go, but the no go, right? And so that you had the confidence to start instead of to let the idea die.
Two things.
Mm.
First, I needed to be really mentally strong
Mm.
because even my family was skeptical
Mm.
because, I was a new mom. Of course, they were worried
Mhm.
about the stress and anxiety that was going to be, lingering when I was trying to take care of my baby. So I tried my best to just focus on what I can create from
Mm.
all these experiences and make something successful, right? So I did go to so many different resources, women business centers. I tried to understand, before I even have that risk of like failure. So I
Mm.
want to make sure the foundation is strong. I'm mentally strong. I will prove everyone that I will make this business work.
Uh-huh.
The second thing, I found people who were believing in my mission
Mm.
because you cannot do everything by yourself. It's just impossible. It's going to burn you out. It's exhausting. And there are people out there who are willing to help, right? So willing to support your business idea. It can be, emotionally or financially. So I
Uh-huh.
found a couple of people who were really excited about my idea. So that gave me courage and strength as well. So I wasn't alone. I had my partners, I had my team, and I had courage.
Yeah.
So I started brewing my dream.
Wow. I mean,
And now
all
I'm
the
writing a book about it.
you're writing the book about that. That's what I'm gonna ask you in this conversation. Okay, and congratulations for putting it onto the writing because it's gonna keep the legacy last forever. Okay,
Yes.
we're gonna get to that one at a later of this conversation. I think give thanks to your grandfather because of the tenacity that he has taught you when you were young to have fear nothing in this world, right? You can do what you want to do. And the next question is about the ability to observe. I'm not sure how big is Los Angeles. I think millions of people there, and things that
Yeah.
happen in front of our eyes every day, right? A lot of different things that happen in our eyes every day. And back then in 2011, right? What
Hmm.
year was that? That you started to see the business trend of the truck business,
Yes.
and I think that that happened everywhere. And
Hmm.
that pretty same idea that could be seen by someone else. But guys, I was able to see that and be able to connect that with a deep root culture of of your of your where you're from that could add values to the society, the people there, right? So where did that observation capability coming from?
I think it was coming from being very engaged with the community and with people.
Uh,
I did identify the need of people really wanted to explore other cultures and cuisines, and specialty coffees and all that. And believe me, at that time, social media wasn't this popular.
uh-huh,
Back in 2011, I didn't even have an Instagram account.
uh-huh,
You know, I could only use Facebook, to share our locations. I think Twitter was becoming trendy around that time, but I didn't have like the communication channels even online. So it was just, just really having a strong communication with your people and other people. Just, I love meeting new people, first of all. And when I
uh-huh,
was working at the embassy, I did see the impact, especially the social impact
uh-huh,
of cultural and cuisine diplomacy. It just brings people together. When you sit on a table from different backgrounds, different, maybe even like political, views, it doesn't matter. You share a, piece of bread. You just sit together, have a good conversation. Like at that
uh-huh.
time, everybody, gets along, because
Mm.
it's a platform that you just share your genuine, frank opinions about other people, and or the world's affairs. So the embassy was really helpful in that regard, that I could see the power of diplomacy.
Ah,
That's why I'm a cultural ambassador,
ah.
because I think diplomacy is really, really important when it comes to communication to people level. But also, I was volunteering for my community, and I was working for the Turkish festival, for some other, like, community, social, educational events. And I did see the influence of my culture on American culture, people. They
Right.
did enjoy the food a lot,
And
They
the
did enjoy
coffee.
the desserts. And our cultures, they're influencing Americans,
Uh-huh.
I don't know, like, for how many years. They do enjoy this variety and diversity in their country. There's so
Mm.
many people from different backgrounds, from different traditions. They have different rituals that Americans enjoy.
Yeah.
They go to an Italian restaurant to experience the Italian culture. They go to, Asian cuisine to understand, the deep roots of your heritage. So I just feel like it's a whole mosaic that we
Ah.
need to appreciate, right?
Yeah. My culture in here say the shortest way to get to the people's heart and mind is through their stomachs. So it means that we can bring good food, good, like drinks, and we can break almost all the barriers between strangers and make them
Yes.
sit and talk
Yes.
and share, right? And you did it very
Exactly. And I
beautiful.
think we should learn from each other. Like, I love Vietnamese coffee, right? I
Yeah.
love it because it's so special. It's so unique, right? So I
Um,
feel good about myself when I enjoy a different culture. It's just so beautiful. We
yeah.
should share that heritage, and we should just, again, teach everyone about our cultures. We are all cultural ambassadors.
Yeah.
Everyone who lives abroad, carries that tradition to another country. They are all ambassadors of their countries.
I'm going to ask you the next question is about the idea that my wife and I found out through conversation with 1,200 experts in 100 countries over the past 4.5 years of interviewing amazing people. And that's the one thing easily seeing these amazing people, you included. And that to us is what made them successful and being known for what they do is what we call later on, we call it newness. Okay, so it's a
Mm.
framework that we form. Newness is where you're looking for something new, even in the existing one, the old one. You look for something new that you can introduce that. The old culture of 500 years coffee in Turkish.
Mhm.
But the world, the biggest country in the world is forgetting about that, not knowing about that. Now you bring
Right,
that
right.
old thing
Mm-hmm.
into the new
Right,
country and make it something, right? All
right.
everybody knows the importance of coffee, of having slow, of slow down and enjoy life. You only have one life to live, right? So slow down, have a good conversation, have good food,
Mm-hmm.
and that is not new. But then people forgot for a long time.
Yes.
Then you bring it back into the newness approach for them to
Right.
see life, and then you bring your idea into different city, meeting different people. So that is you spread that new idea to more people, new customer, new territory, new works.
Right.
And yeah, so that's how you create possibilities. That's how you create opportunities for you. And now you bring it to the next level, which is newness again. You use it to to share on your books, to make it for the communities, for women or for other people who want to do their own business, right? Learn from
Mm-hmm.
your story so that they can create something new for the life. So that is newness everywhere.
I like
If
that.
if you define newness and how it's benefiting into your story or the stories of the people around you, how do you find that correlation?
What a beautiful, you know, way of saying. I think life is just so unique for everyone. Every day we're a new person. Every day we learn something. Every day we meet someone brand new, completely new, and that person can change our life,
Mm.
right? So I was again very lucky in that regard because I met my husband uh, when I was getting my graduate studies in Boston. And on the very first day, there was like this, orientation. And he was sitting next to me. And he was just being a little cocky, He was like, oh, I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, who is this person? And it's just so interesting. We've been married for 16 years. You never know. You
Uh-huh.
never know when your life is going to change.
Yes.
So I think that's why we need to be receptive to good things, new things in life. If I was skeptical to that person sitting next to me, like maybe we weren't going to have this wonderful life, our wonderful baby, right? So
Uh-huh.
I think being positive and open to new worlds and to new people is just so important.
Yeah.
Another thing, life is full of challenges and tests. I was creating something, beautiful, my business, something for my baby girl, a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really hard to get to the point from, like you said, from the idea to the reality, like
Yeah.
opening the first day of business. It took a long time. It was a very difficult process. I was brushed off many times. I didn't see people supporting me, or they were trying to discourage me, or they were just saying this is going to fail, like nothing, no support whatsoever. But I was able to open it, which is great, and we had a wonderful grand opening. We had a big crowd. We were like, oh my gosh, like this is great, so happy.
Uh-huh.
1 month later, I think I got the evil eye. I find out that I had breast cancer right after I opened my dream coffee shop.
Uh,
So everything fell apart, you know? And I was like, okay, this is a message from the universe that I need to rest and I need to focus on myself
uh,
and my health. So I asked my team to take care of the shop and I went back to my country, my homeland,
uh,
and I got my treatment for 6 months, chemotherapy, radiation therapy, surgeries, and all that. And it was really hard because, my baby was so young and I
mm,
was just starting to building a business and then I got sick. And I'm laughing now because I think that was a good lesson for me.
mm.
Um, it's important to bring value to other people's lives, but first you have to be strong to do that. You have to make sure like you're taking care of yourself. So that was a life-changing experience. But you know what happened later? I received so many messages from all around the world because I did share it on Facebook publicly that I
Mm.
had this diagnosis, and I was asking women to make sure they get their checkups, they get their mammograms on time and all that. And I know I did save lives by doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm still mentoring women because it's very common, unfortunately. People are getting sick a lot. Everything we eat, the air we breathe, unfortunately, is toxic. So we have to really make sure, we're taking care of our spirit, we're taking care of our body and our mind.
Yeah. Wow. So how
So
how
that's
is
why I
your
was open to like understanding this experience, why I had to go through this challenge, this test in my life when I was already so busy with so many things. I couldn't even register when they called me and said like, you have cancer. I'm like, no, I have a business. I have a business to take care of. I have a baby. They were like, no, you have to stop here. You need to have a pause. You need to get a treatment. So it was a very difficult time of my life, but now I can see that there was a reason for it.
uh,
I needed to spend some quality time with my family, back in Ankara, my hometown. I
Mm.
needed that 6 months of transition.
Mm.
And
How's
then I
the
came back and the pandemic started. So, up and down, up and down.
the medical condition now?
I'm good. I'm doing good. I'm a survivor of 8 years now. So,
Wow. I was with you. I'm glad. I'm happy that you're making progress on there.
yes.
And in the newness, there's two letter S that in the part. In the last one, the first S is share your stories. We
Mhm.
encourage people. If you lean into new word, new thing, and you have that experience, you share your stories. You share the success story, the life lesson story, the extraction of the lessons that you have, so that other people will be able to learn from your story and can make the best out of that, right? And
Right.
now you share your story through your the book that you are writing, and that guys, I
Mhm.
mean, it's beautiful. Tell us about that book.
Well, it's in the works, but it's harder than I thought.
There's nothing that can stop you for sure, guys.
Thank you. It's just, time is the most valuable thing, and I need to make sure like I'm spending enough time to tell my story correct. It's just so beautiful because I have a story to tell, like you
Mm,
mentioned, and I know it's inspiring a lot of women,
mm,
not just the story, but the courage, the resilience, being a mother, being a business owner, being a wife, being a cultural ambassador. That's a lot of responsibilities. So there has to be a balance, right?
mm.
So the book is about that. Like the book is about having a purpose, but
Wow.
at the same time, make sure like you're really taking care of yourself while having that journey. You're making sure you're appreciating your loved ones. You're appreciating all the experiences, easy or hard ones. And, you teach something to the next generation. It doesn't have to be so major, but one thing that you bring value to this world, it will be your legacy. It will be something unique to you that you change someone's life,
One
or
person in a
just
while.
guidance. Yes, exactly, exactly. Just trying to give people some hope during these uncertain times. Things are really uncertain here. I know a lot of people are struggling. I know they need some emotional support.
I think that you give hope, you give kindness in any time, every time. Not necessarily be in the like challenging times like now, but any
Yes.
time. That is never go out of like of power, right? And you mentioned one word that I really enjoy is the word I think. And my wife and I, you have the passion of helping people to enjoy coffee, to enjoy cuisine, to enjoy connections and relationship, to look inward, to look outward, to find that balance, right? My wife and I, we enjoy to help people to improve their ability to think, guys, because we believe that there's so many things that impact in our thinking. We know what works for us, but then we're neglecting the thing that's supposed to help us, in our life. And
Mm-hmm.
the number of that is increasingly, right? So every conversation like this is for us to help people to slow down a little bit, to learn to extract something that was the idea that could help them to start doing something differently and see how that newness will lead into a different world, a different way of living and different future for them. And the question I want to ask you is, guys, how have you been growing your ability to think over the years?
Well, first of all, learning new things every day. Like I'm learning so much from you as we speak, right? So I think that's how you grow. You need to be open.
Mm,
You need to understand, so much to explore in this world, and you need to be receptive.
mm,
But also you need to be alert, right? You need to understand what's happening in the
mm,
world. You need to follow trends. what's happening in your market, what's happening, in similar businesses. And also, I'm just really, really eager to be proactive. Like nothing is going to come to you. Like you have to, go and grab it. So I apply for, I apply for, business education programs still, even though I'm experienced. The world is changing, technology is changing. Look at AI, right? It's transforming everything. So you need to adapt. You cannot just stay behind. So I'm like getting some online classes from Goldman Sachs. They have this incredible small business program. I was able to get into another accelerator in Chicago. I'm right now working on this world's first iced Turkish coffee RTD drink. So I need to understand, right, the distribution channels. I need to understand like how to build relationships with distributors or, stakeholders. Every day I'm trying to innovate something. Even though it doesn't come out like a product or an idea, I'm still focused on that. Just to expand my horizon, what else I can do with my own resources, with my own experience. And this culture, again, is a centuries old culture. For the very first time, I'm the only person who dared to put the iced Turkish coffee, in a can. And it's delicious. So
Yeah.
hopefully you'll also enjoy it, in the upcoming months because we're working on it right now. We're gonna make it worldwide. Hopefully, that's the plan. Maybe
Beautiful.
I'll travel to your neighborhood and we'll drink it together. How about that?
Who knows, right? The
Who
world is
knows?
beautiful, and the universe has is like secret power, and
Yes,
that attractions will make it happen. Two last questions.
of course.
Okay.
I enjoy your
Uh,
questions.
Thank you. I want to travel back in time with you to see one person that has a lot of impact into your life, your grandfather. Okay, so I want you to imagine with me. Your grandfather is sitting somewhere in his garden in Ankara, enjoying his coffee, a Turkish coffee. Okay, that little Gizem was there, watching, sitting, watching, and
Mhm.
and now you and I come into that picture. You and I are gonna talk to that little Gizem about the coffee, about that experience, about the way that she looked at her grandfather drinking coffee, the journey that he leading, sharing with you, and the deep culture of Turkish for a very long time in the history, and the thing that she is going to do in the future. So you're gonna share with her something. What is that you are going to share with her?
Wow. My grandfather used to say a very touching message, and this has been my inspiration in a way. So he said, they stole our wind, but we didn't quit sailing. So I will tell my younger self that I never, ever quit. Whatever happens, you know, just move forward, chase your dreams, continue your journey. I just really love getting on these challenges and feeling even stronger every time that, bring it on. I'm fierce, I'll make sure, I'll test this test again. Maybe I'll pivot, I'll find another way out, but I will keep going. I have to. I've come this far, right? I
Yeah,
cannot stop now.
yeah. Wow. Since we're there, this is not a question, but since we are there with her and with your grandfather, right? Maybe a word to your grandfather.
Sorry, say it again.
Maybe, maybe you can send some words to your grandfather in that picture. What is that?
Oh, what would I say to him?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, I hope he's proud,
Be proud.
because I lost him really early. He
Oh,
unfortunately passed away with his family at a car accident, which also changed my life.
hmm.
It was a big loss for the family. So he
Very
passed very early. He was 64.
sorry to hear.
Uh-huh. Thank you. It's life.
Yeah.
We need to appreciate our loved ones every single minute.
Yeah.
Life is short. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I hope he's proud of me.
I'm sure he's proud of you, not because of you do your best, but you also bring the culture of your country, the spirits of your country, of your culture to the world. So that
Yes.
is something that not many people would do. Okay.
I know. Thank
And
you for saying that. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
last question. I'm trying to think of the last question because I'm so touched into this conversation. So my mind is everywhere now. I think through the ups and downs, the hard works, the moments of reflections, and now you have been, you guiding, you mentoring people to live a better life, a more balanced and well lived life. Put it that way. Okay, I'm trying to put it in my limited ability to use words in here. And to us, is something that can help to build something sustainable. Okay, sustainable in the way of living, in the way of breathing, in the way of eating, in the way of drinking, right? And we want to help people to have that mind, that mindset, that sustainability mind. So
Mhm.
if you rewire your whole life of all the struggle, of the wins, of the like achievement, of the losses, of everything, and you talk about a sustainability mind in your own word of wisdom, what is that?
Oh, tough question. So
It's
how
not
do
nothing
I
stuff for
make it?
you. There's
How do
nothing
I
tough for
make things
you.
sustainable?
How can we have that mindset of sustainability for ourselves?
Well, I think it's the mindset.
Hmm.
You know, is having the perspective of um, like not giving up, like not just take the easy path. Try to educate yourself, equip yourself, um, like make sure you learn from others that understand better than or people are smarter than you, or people who are trying to share their knowledge with you.
Hmm.
And I think it's communication. Everything is communication. We need to communicate. That's the key. We need to, touch each other. It's either through coffee, through music, through arts, through something else. But like being social and having a good circle of people with healthy relationships, not people are judgy or sending you negative energy, but like giving you all the positivity that you need in your life.
I believe
that's
you.
how that's how you stay sustainable. Yeah, exactly. That's sustainability. That's the hope.
I said that I have two last questions, and this one bizarre question just came
There
up.
is one
I,
more.
yeah, just one more, like one last one, okay? And
No
let treat
worries.
it as a newness, okay? Your daughter means the world to you,
Of
right?
course.
Yes, and because we've been imagining about the past, let's imagine something about the future. I would love to see you making her first cup of coffee for her.
Mhm.
I think it's that is gonna be interesting. So if you make her first cup of coffee, her first Turkish coffee, right? And you're gonna give her, and what do you think that she's gonna think about that cup of coffee for her life?
Well, inspiration for sure. Appreciating her dual heritage, having a Turkish American mother and an American father. So she's growing up in different rituals, and she does have a very loving family. We love our baby. We make sure she's safe every day. So I think the warmth of the house, the coziness, the safety, she feels comfortable, the smell,
Yeah.
and she loves traveling.
Uh-huh.
She loves going to, my mother's house every summer. She's always looking forward to that. I think family comes first, she is going to think about family,
Uh-huh.
and she learns appreciating the family.
And I think that also she's gonna make coffee for the next people in her circle for them to
Exactly.
enjoy
We will
having
learn
good
sharing.
conversation. Yay!
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. Yes,
And
I
she's a
know.
strong character, so she will be a leader as well.
Yeah, I had a very touching conversation, very inspiring conversation. I learned a lot from you, from coffee, from the culture,
Likewise.
from life wisdom. A lot in this conversation too, for us to think about what's important about life, about living, about relationships, right? And uh, and Hazel, thanks a lot for spending your morning to join and to share your story with us. And I
Thank
hope, yeah, I really appreciate this opportunity to connect and learn from you. And I wish all the best to happen to you, to your family, to your community, and to the journey of legacy that you continue to build forward. And congratulations for all of the beautiful things you have been doing. And I'm sure
you.
more will come, more and more impactful things that you will. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's just so amazing, my mission leads me to people like you, so we can connect even though we're so far from each other, right? That's
Uh-huh.
why I love my mission. I get to meet amazing people like yourself. So I truly appreciate your time hosting me here today.
Thank
It was
you.
a wonderful conversation. And please say hi to your lovely wife and your family
I
from me.
absolutely will do that. Yes, you do the same first, okay?
Absolutely.
Bye bye for
Thank you
now.
so very much.
Thank you.